Hey,
Wilson.
Wilson, how you doing?
Good. Wilson Morales from Black Film and TV talking to Brandon Dirden, who plays Davy in Take Me Out. Now, from what I understand, this is coming around full circle for you because you played this role nearly over a decade ago. No, you played a different role over a
That's
decade ago,
correct. Yeah. Can you hear
in
me
another
okay? Just
town.
want to make sure the audio is fine. You can hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you great. I can hear you great. So talk to me about obviously coming back, to doing a revival.
Yeah.
You've done theater is your forte. You're always on Broadway or off Broadway. So I'm assuming there's always offers or things that you want to do. What made you say yes to taking on this project?
Yeah. Wilson, that's a great question. I wish offers were always on the table, as you suggested. I'm still a working stiff, and I don't have the luxury of always picking and choosing. But I always do get a chance to choose what I say yes to. That's the one power we do have as actors, and I have a certain criteria about what I choose to say yes to, and that is, do I feel like this material will add value to somebody else's life? Will it add value to my life? Will it add value to the audience members' lives? And that doesn't always mean like a heavy drama or, but it has to be worth spending a couple of hours in the theater, and hopefully you walk away a better person, bigger person. And hopefully from the experience, I walk away, a more complete person than I was when I started. Or, I don't know if we'll ever get to true completion as people, but that's my goal. That's what I love about the theater, is that it is so expansive, and we get to, hopefully every time I enter a project, there's potential for growth. And here I am visiting this play again, like I say, almost 15 years later, and I think this play is so massive in its reach for ideas about how we become a more perfect union, about how we see each other more fully and are accepting in love of each other. And I don't think I can ever stop growing in search of that, ways to, to teach myself and others how we can more completely love each other, to where we can just live in a more harmonious society.
And for those who are not aware, obviously it's a revival from 2003 about a mixed race baseball player who comes out and the ramifications that it has with his teammates and those around him. The role you play is Davy's best friend, no, Darren's best friend on an
Right.
opposite team, you know. And so, what more, in essence, can you say about the character you're playing?
Yeah. Well, David Battle is an interesting cat. He's deeply religious. He's specifically in the Christian faith. And he considers himself to be a really loyal friend to Darren, and he wants to help Darren to have a full of life as possible. And I think he recognizes in Darren that Darren is limiting his potential for living a full life, because Darren hasn't really explored that romantic side in the public eye, and even in the private behind closed doors, behind out of the limelight of being a professional superstar athlete, which David Battle is as well. David does not have a real intimate knowledge of where Darren is in his romantic life, and in David's mind, what that means for in terms of a family and having children. And I think David really values legacy and being able to have everything that the Bible offers in terms of being fruitful and multiplying, right? And sowing your seed. And he sees so much value in that. He wants to offer that to Darren without knowing Darren's, true, I guess, his sexual orientation. I don't think that's a spoiler, right? Darren comes out of the closet in the first, monologue of the play. And Davey is unaware of that. He's unaware of his friends' sexual preferences. And it really rocks him. It really rocks Davey and his idea of what it is to be a complete person. And I think this play really deals with that struggle. And our relationship deals with how precarious that it is when we make assumptions and when we hold each other to our personal beliefs, as opposed to making room for someone else to live their truth.
Now, being it's on Broadway, obviously, there's always the flair for the dramatics. And when you have baseball players and in this setting on Broadway, there's a portion of the play where the guys are nude. Now,
Yeah.
when you did the performance over 10 years ago, but not on Broadway, was
Mhm.
it the same sort of setting, you know?
It
And
was, yeah, to
what,
answer your, I mean, was there another part of the question? I started,
no, I'm
didn't mean to
saying,
cut
was
you
it
off.
the same? Was it the same
Yeah.
setting? Like, was nudity always part of the play
Yeah.
for those who did not see the original or the first
Yeah.
revival of it?
Yeah, it is, Wilson. That's a great question. Nudity is, I know there have been other productions around the country where people were a little more, shy or conservative, and so nudity wasn't a part of it. But there are shower scenes written into the play where, who takes a shower with clothes on, right? It's gotten some pushback from some people, but the way I see it, Wilson, it is such an integral part of the storytelling, and it's not gratuitous in the way that I think the playwright intends it, or the way that we present it now, or when I did it 15 years ago in Atlanta. I don't think it was a gratuitous part of the play. I think what it really does is challenge the audiences to really reconsider what we're making of just the human body, right? That's what we're talking about. We're just talking about bodies and flesh in space. And why are we so afraid to see ourselves? And I think it's a real question. And it's because of all the, in my opinion, it's because of all of the assignments that we have put onto just the physical body, right? We've come in a shared in social engagement, we've come to sexualize, and in my opinion, over sexualize just the human flesh, right? And so I think it asks the audiences to take a real hard look as to how we are interacting with someone else's flesh, the same flesh that I have, the same flesh that you have, and how do we put things in its proper perspective. So it's a really integral part of the storytelling, from my opinion. I love that it opens up the conversations. I hope that we can move forward. I hope this helps to move the needle in terms of lessening body shame, in terms of just really stating the obvious that we all got something under these clothes, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's nothing to hide from, but it's also nothing to over sexualize. We are built for so many other things, and sex and sexualization is just one piece of our functionality as humans, if we so choose to use it for sexual purposes, right? But to automatically assign, just because we're looking at a penis on stage, to automatically assume that that's it meant for just sexual intent, I think it's just absolutely ridiculous. And I'm so happy to be a part of stories that really challenge those notions.
Now, when you did it in 2005,
Mhm.
and we're talking 2022 now,
Yeah,
times have changed.
yeah,
Has the play changed? Is it still timeless in
yeah.
terms, or does it feel dated? If the
This
dialogue is
this
still the
is
same.
Yeah, Wilson, I got to tell you, this is one of my great disappointments looking back, is that we haven't changed nearly enough for this to be a dated play. And I hope that my involvement in this production and in plays like this, that in my lifetime, I mean, I have an 8-year-old son, hopefully in the 15 years, and when my son sees this play, maybe when he's 23, that he was looking and say, oh, wow, those are some really cool ideas that you all had 15 years ago. That's my hope, right? That we can, at some point as a society, move to where this play is a museum piece or is a time capsule that shows our follies at a certain period of time. But we aren't there today, and I think that we have to continue to tell these stories so that we can get through this moment of bigotry, of hatred, of racism, of homophobia, of xenophobia, to where we can really address our fears. And what better way to address your fears than by looking at them? And I think this story is beautifully told and rendered, and the questions that this play asks of all of us will help get us to that place where this play can be dated one day. Sometimes it's kind of funny to say that, because hopefully I'm doing the work that's gonna at some point help put me out of work, out of this type of work, right? To where we don't need this play to learn the lessons. We will need these plays to see where we've come from, sure. But hopefully, we'll get to a point where we can start interrogating, investigating, stories that even move us beyond what we dreamed of in our lifetime.
Now, earlier this year, you did a play with Shantae Adams and Felicia
Yeah.
Rashad, and obviously that had a good run. And then you're on this show, but you were always committed to this show prior to that one. I can't think of the title now. All of a sudden,
Skeleton Crew.
Skeleton
Yeah,
Crew.
by the great
And,
Dominique Morisseau and also Joshua Boone and Odessala. Soumyake was
yes.
in that play as well. Yeah.
And so was it good timing in which you and your team said, "Oh, I'm committed to Take Me Out when it comes back on, but I could also do this one because that was a short run."
Yeah. You know what? Let me tell you, the Lord works in mysterious ways, I mean, for me, be able to the schedules to be able to work out where I could do two incredible shows back to back. I mean, there was a point where I was in rehearsals for this iteration of Take Me Out and performing at night of Skeleton Crew. And I also teach in the NYU grad acting program. So I was and some days I'd be teaching in the morning, then go to rehearsal for Take Me Out for a couple hours, then go to and do Skeleton Crew at night. And I would have never imagined this in my wildest dreams when I was, just a young boy, 8, 9, 10 years old, wanted to do theater wanted to be an actor. And here I am, and I'm tired often, but I have an inexhaustible amount of energy for being in this community of brilliant artists and storytellers, and just seeing a room full of strangers who are just so hungry to see themselves. And that's what I love about Skeleton Crew, right? Is, man, listen, those are some of the most diverse audiences that I've ever had the opportunity to perform on Broadway. I mean, Miss Rashad packed them in, and Dominique's writing is so soulful and beautiful. I couldn't say no to that one when Ruben Santiago Hudson, the director, called and invited me to be a part of that company. And that's what I live for. I live for us to be able to get to a point where I'm seeing people like me and like you and sitting in a Broadway house, seeing ourselves reflected and hearing those rhythms and hearing, the way that only we do it, our style, and then being able to come over the next month and hopefully that same audience can come over and see a Richard Greenberg play where we can see how, my style is definitely a part of this world too, but you're going to get something else. And I think that's what the power of theater. It can bring all these strangers of different cultures and ways of life together in a room, and we can still all see ourselves and celebrate ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So the way that God was able to work it out for me to be able to do both and still be a teacher at the same time and a parent and a husband. I mean, it is beyond anything I could have written for myself. And I'm just grateful, really
You
grateful for
just
the
answered
opportunity.
2 or 3 questions that I was going to follow up with that, because I was going to say, like, I've always heard of you. I always heard the Durden boys between you and
Oh
your brother.
yeah.
You guys are theater staples.
Yeah.
And although you've done dabbled in film or TV, theater is your home.
Yeah.
What gets you to do projects outside of theater if you have to? But considering your father, your husband, and your teaching,
Yeah.
when do you have time to be solo and just chill for a little bit?
You know what? That's called June 11th when we close Take Me Out. I tell my wife, I said, just give me about 72 hours. It's just 72 hours of just everybody just in the world, just sit down and be quiet and don't ask me nothing. So, you know what? I got to tell you, this is the honest to God's truth is, somebody told me this a long time ago, and you've probably heard it yourself. It says, when you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And that's true. I mean, I love, love, love what I do. I love it. And I am one of the luckiest persons that you'll probably talk to today, because I just it's energy as much as it takes for me to show up and be here and be present and be creative and put out this energy night after night or day after day with either the students or on stage and rehearsal. I get so much more back than I will ever put out. And it is it's like, one of those perpetual machines that just feeds on itself. And uh, but I'm able to take snatches here, an hour here, or just a coffee. I got a coffee right now, right? So I just have a like 15-minute coffee break where I can just kind of power down. I play games on my phone sometimes, like Words with Friends, or some stupid puzzle games, and just to kind of decompress and zone out for a second. And then it's time to get back on the horse. It's I think my wife would like for me to take a little more downtime than I am, and I owe it to her. So like I say, come June, once this baby is put to bed, we're gonna go away for a minute. But she's an actor too, and she's gonna be working, and so she gets it. She understands the the commitment that it requires to do what we do, and she loves it as well. So it's just nice to have a partner who's going to support you in that, and who really understands what it takes and what it costs, but also what you're benefiting from.
Brandon, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Obviously, Take Me Out is on Broadway right now. Hopefully, we can get more people to come out and see it.
Absolutely. Well,
you're
good
always
luck with
working.
tickets, man. We're selling out every day, so I jump on it quick.
I'm gonna start telling people that's Brandon. He's the Sam Jackson of theater. He's always working.
Another Morehouse, man.
Morehouse is in the house.
I take Brother Sam Jackson, who's going to be back on Broadway with August was his piano lesson. So make sure you check that one out too.
We can go over and over and on and talk about August Wilson, but we can be on for a long time. But I know I got to let you go because I'm sure you got more to do. You got to relax. You got a show tonight.
I got a show in 30 minutes.
So I'm going to let you be. It's good talking to you. Wherever you're at, stay safe. Take care.
Thank you, brother. God bless.
Mm-hmm.